The sun didn't set that evening. It retreated, like it was afraid. It slid behind Abala slowly, leaving the sky bruised, dark red fading into black, until even the last light looked suspicious, like it was watching what would happen next and deciding not to stay. In Agweng IDP Camp at Agweng Trading Center, Ogur, Lira district, where about 500 people were squeezed into grass-thatched huts and thin shelters, the air felt wrong. Not just quiet, too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you stop chewing your food, makes you pause mid-step, makes you look over your shoulder even when nobody's there. Cooking fires burned low. People spoke in half voices. Mothers pulled children close like the night might steal them. Men checked doors, then checked them again, then stood there like they had forgotten what they were doing. Even the dogs were behaving like they had been briefed. They sniffed the wind, then froze. Sniffed again, froze again, like the wind was carrying a message. And a message it was. Somebody whispered it fast. Then it moved across the camp the way fear always moves. Fast, invisible, unstoppable. They are nearby. The LRA. They've attacked. Some people try to laugh it off, the way tired people do when they are trying to trick their hearts into calming down. But no one's heart calmed, because the ground itself felt tense, like it was waiting. Then, at around 8 p.m., the night opened its mouth. Bang! One shot. Sharp and clean, like breaking a stick right beside your ear. A heartbeat of silence. Then another shot. Then a burst. And suddenly, the camp understood, all at once without needing anyone to explain. The Lord's Resistance Army had attacked Agweng camp. The panic didn't build. It didn't climb. It exploded. People screamed names. People screamed prayers. People screamed with no words, just raw sound. Children cried. Mothers started hissing, "Quiet! Quiet!" with tears already on their cheeks, because in war, even a baby's cry feels like it can guide death to your door. Soldiers shouted over the chaos, "Down! Down! Lie flat!" Civilians dropped hard into the dirt, faces pressed into dust, bodies piled close. Some parents covered their children with their own bodies, as if a human back could stop a bullet. Gunfire ripped through the air. Bullets snapped over roofs. They punched into hut walls with that terrifying tuk sound, like wood being beaten by iron. And inside one of those huts, Uncle Denis was asleep. Not light sleep, deep sleep. The kind you get only when your body is exhausted from months of fear and displacement. He was gone until the gunfire dragged him out of sleep like someone pulling him by the collar. His eyes opened instantly. His heart jumped into his throat, and for a half second he thought it was a dream, until the heart trembled and the air outside sounded like it was tearing apart. Denis didn't sit up. He didn't even lift his head, because in war, movement is a confession. He lay flat, as still as a stone, breathing shallowly, listening, and immediately his mind rushed to the terror that sits behind every grass-thatched roof: fire. He had heard the stories. Everyone had. The rebels burning huts like they are lighting matchsticks, flames racing from roof to roof, smoke swallowing the air, people trapped with nowhere to run. His mouth went dry. He started praying, not a neat church prayer, a broken one, the kind you whisper like you're bribing God. "God, please, don't let me die tonight." Outside, the battle grew louder. It sounded like it was circling, closing in. The soldiers fired back and their shots echoed like angry drums. Then, the hut wall beside Denis suddenly jerked. Tuk! Something hit it hard. Another hit. Tuk! Tuk! Then another. 4 bullets slammed into the wall of the hut where he lay. 4! Each hit felt like the night knocking on his grave. Denis squeezed his eyes shut and cried silently. His tears soaked into dust. He prayed again and again, because prayer was the only thing left that wasn't being shot at. Minutes stretched into hours. The fighting didn't slow. It became a constant roaring thing, like the camp was trapped inside a storm made of metal. Then, around 10 p.m., a new fear arrived. Not gunfire, the change in gunfire. The soldiers' shots began to thin out. Longer gaps, shorter bursts, less confidence. Even a civilian can hear it when defenders start losing strength. The soldiers were running out of ammunition. Then the command came, sharp, desperate, almost panicked. "Run! Run to the barracks! Now!" That order hit the camp like lightning. People tried to stand and realized their legs were not legs anymore. Fear had turned knees to water. Feet felt nailed to the ground. Some people froze completely, eyes wide, mouths open like their bodies had decided, "No, not today." But then survival pushed them. They ran. They ran carrying babies. They ran dragging children by the wrist. They ran falling, getting up, running again. They ran barefoot. They ran while praying. They ran while bullets snapped over their heads like angry insects. In that chaos, 1 civilian, 4 dogs, and 2 cows were shot. Yes, dogs, cows, even animals were caught in the madness. Bullets don't ask questions. They don't choose targets. They just take. The night became hotter with fear. People were sweating even in the cold air. Their hearts pounded so hard it felt like ribs might crack. And still, the fight continued. Until midnight. Reinforcements arrived from Lira town. Fresh soldiers, fresh ammunition, louder and more organized. For a moment, hope flickered. But silence didn't come. Because the rebels didn't immediately retreat. They held the darkness like it was theirs. The gunfire kept chewing the night, and the camp remained trapped between 2 forces, like a small animal caught between 2 fighting lions. Then the army made a decision. They dropped 4 bombs not in the camp, but outside the camp, to scare the rebels into retreating. And for the civilians inside, it felt like the world ended 4 times. The first bomb landed with a sound that wasn't just loud. No, this one was deep, a violent boom that shook the earth so hard that the hearts trembled like they were about to collapse. Dust rose in clouds, pots clattered, people screamed, some grabbed the ground like holding the soil could stop it from splitting. Before anyone could even breathe, boom! A second bomb. A flash lit the horizon. Shadows jumped across hut walls like ghosts sprinting. Someone shouted, "They have bombed us!" Another cried, "Jesus!" like the name itself was an emergency rope. Then the third bomb. Boom! This one felt closer. The shockwave punched chests. Children wailed like their bodies could feel thunder inside their bones. Mothers started crying openly now, not even trying to be strong. Then the fourth bomb. Boom! 4 warnings written in fire and thunder. Retreat, move, leave this place. And after the 4th bomb, something shifted. The rebels' gunfire began to scatter. Their bursts became less bold, more distant. The sound of battle started drifting outward like a storm finally losing interest in the camp. Slowly, painfully, the gunfire died, and the silence came. But that silence wasn't peaceful. Silence after war feels like a trick, like the night is just inhaling before it screams again. Denis remained in his hut, trembling, ears sharp, body stiff. He couldn't sleep. His mind kept replaying bullets, bombs, footsteps, fire. Then he heard it. Movement outside his hut. Light, quick, playful. A scuffle, a little thump, running in a circle. In Denis's mind, the fear translator switched on immediately. They have returned. His breath caught in his throat. His body went cold. His heart hammered like it wanted to jump out and run away alone. He held his breath so hard, his chest hurt, because in his head, even breathing sounded loud enough to alert rebels. His thoughts went to dark places. Abduction, death, last words, unfinished plans. He started imagining the businesses he would never complete and the life he would never live. Hours crawled. Then, at around 4 p.m., Denis reached a breaking point. Not courage exactly, more like disgust. Disgust at fear, tiredness of suffering, a bitter, "Okay, enough," rising in the chest. He decided, if they want me, they'll have to fight me. So he moved to the door. Hand shaking, heart racing, he opened it slowly and saw the RA rebels. 2 dogs. Just dogs. Not even serious dogs. These ones were playing like clowns, one chasing the other, then tumbling, then sprinting in circles like they were auditioning for a comedy show in the middle of a war zone. Denis stared at them like he couldn't believe his life had been threatened by dog games. Then rage exploded. He was so angry he nearly laughed. He said later he felt like he could eat those dogs alive, like literal. Because imagine being traumatized by bombs and bullets, only for the final attack to be 2 dogs doing Olympic wrestling in the middle of a war zone. He chased them away furiously, shouting like a madman, and the dogs scattered, probably thinking, this man is the real rebel here. He slammed the door, breathing hard, half relieved, half insulted by the universe. Then morning came. Light spilled into the camp like mercy. Denis realized he was alive. He knelt down and thanked God like a man rescued from drowning. Not casually, not politely, deep gratitude, because when you survive a night like that, you don't take breathing for granted. That same morning, people searched the camp for bodies. Civilians, soldiers, rebels. They counted the dead. 3 rebels, 1 civilian, 4 cows, 2 dogs. Then they found a rebel hiding inside a produce store. The mob dragged him out and beat him fiercely, cursing him, pouring years of fear into their fists. Soldiers tried to save him for questioning. They fired warning shots. But rage doesn't negotiate. The mob killed him before he could speak. And from that day onward, trust in the camp's security died too. People stopped believing the camp could protect them. Many children and young people started migrating to Lira town, marking a period when street children increased significantly. Because war doesn't only kill. Sometimes it uproots survivors and throws them into new suffering. That was Uncle Denis's night, a night that lasted a few hours on the clock, but in the mind, it can last forever. That is it for today. See you in the next story.